You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, folks, Louisiana postponed their primary schedule for April 4th as states scramble to adjust to coronavirus. It's the first primary to be postponed since the outbreak. Now, on Tuesday, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, and Ohio will continue as planned. Brittany, should this be the case, and should we be changing rules now allowing for mail-in balloting?
I mean, I think the reality is that that is what's going to happen, and we need to prepare accordingly, because I think as soon as we continue to do more testing, we're going to realize just how widespread this COVID-19 is, and we need to be prepared. So I think that actually other folks should follow suit, and I think that we need to start thinking about the presidential election as well in terms of what we're going to do if we can't have people physically coming out to vote.
This is going to be a problem moving forward, Wilmer. So this is April 4th.
Yes.
Now, was it too early for them to stop it, or is it smart?
I think it's smart, but the issue is perception, and with what transpired in Iowa, with the software package, and people, and what happened in 2016 with what the Clinton campaign did to Bernie Sanders, people are quickly losing confidence, any little confidence that they had in the process to begin with. So Louisiana, I think, is being proactive in this, and kudos to them for doing so. But public perception and losing confidence in your elections is a very, very, very dangerous thing.
Wilbur, I think I halfway disagree with you, because I think the issue is election integrity. And I think that where are the safeguards in Louisiana? How are they ensuring that they've postponed the election? How is this election going to happen? Is it going to be mail ballots?
No, first of all, all they've done is postpone it. They haven't say, well, we're going to move to a primary. This is what it's going to entail. They're reacting in the exact same way as the NBA and everybody else. And that is, here's an event taking place in our state. There are going to be large numbers of people who are turning out. We don't know even how to combat this, so the easiest thing is to postpone it.
And a lot of their poll workers are elderly.
But there has to be an issue of election integrity. I mean, this has been the challenge that we've had for some time, not only with this president, but when you have election suppression, when you have voter suppression. And so I'm not disagreeing fully, but I'm saying let's make sure while they're sitting here doing emergency appropriations for this and for that, can there be an appropriation? Marcia Fudge, H.R. 1, they talked about this, years ago. 3 years ago. How can we make sure that our elections are fair?
Okay. You keep saying fair and integrity. That's nothing to do with this here. What they're saying is this is no different. For Louisiana is saying this is no different than a large-scale sporting event. So what they're saying is in 3 weeks, all these people, early voting will start. All people are going to be going to the ballot box. All right. How do you deal with that if you don't even know who the hell is coming up, who has coronavirus, who does it? So they're saying is, you know what? The easiest thing to do is to postpone this. You can have the primary in 3 months. They're saying it's coming up in 3 weeks. Let's postpone it. And so now now what's going to then happen? I think what they're saying is, hey, we need to give our federal folks 4 to 8 weeks to see what happens when we have mass testing, to now begin to study it. Now, let's see how long this thing goes. Then states are going to have to then make a different decision. What now happens for the general?
4 other states are sticking with their date.
No, right.
For now.
Right, because elections are state elections. Just like it's no different in some states have said no school. Others, they're still in school. Those are state-based decisions. These are not national decisions. And so what they're saying is, okay, in our state, we're doing this here. That's fine because you got a better handle what's happening on your state than somebody else over here. So I don't have an issue with that. The issue is, okay, if this thing does get prolonged, what then do we deal with November? How do we deal with that? Because, to Wilmer's point, my parents are 72. My dad will be 73 next week. They work polls all the time. Yeah. And so the question is, are you going to put people who are in the most high-risk category for coronavirus
out in public,
who are controlling polls and not knowing who the hell's coming up.
Yep, and this is what Louisiana,
seniors are more likely to vote than others.
Yep.
Right, but also they're workers.
Yep, and Louisiana officials have said, like, at the end of the day, we're fearing that people are physically not going to show up. The actual poll workers, they're scared. And even if they are doing mail-in ballots, they've been informed that they need to wear gloves. I mean, this is a legitimate concern, and I think I'm glad that it's happening so early so that we can seriously think if this thing is not contained and it continues to grow in the way that we think it might, what we're going to do about the actual presidential.
Yeah, I think a lot
of people make sure that there is accurate counting and integrity.
Hold up, Julian, ain't no voting. You keep saying counting. Ain't gonna be nothing to count. Because Louisiana is postponing the entire primary.
Well, when are they going to put this on the table for there to be citizen input about how they change it?
Okay, because what they're first doing is they're in the midst of a international pandemic, now national emergency. So their deal is, yo, this is the last thing I need to be thinking about right now. Plus, it's the primary. And the reality is here, if you look at the polling now, people who support Bernie Sanders versus Joe Biden, folks may be upset, but say, you know, well, my candidate's not going to have a chance to actually, I can't vote for them to get some delegates. What they're saying is we're kind of worried about people dying.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll get to that. And again, I think what it is it's April. The Democratic convention is in July, okay? Bottom line is this here. We have to see how long this thing goes. What happens? Do we reach the point to where this thing continues? Is it going to be a 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 month deal? I think what's going to happen is we're going to get, if this thing continues, if we get past the conventions, then states are going to begin to have to make some immediate decisions. What do we do? Do we do mail-in balloting? How do we do it? How do we ensure that? How do you make sure it gets counted? You have no paper receipt. They got to figure all those things out.
Because here's a couple of things. One is, when you get to the Louisiana primary, you've got a number of people standing in long lines for a very long period of time. And so your exposure and your transmission of this becomes an issue. But when you talk about the general election in November, one of the things that they're warning us about right now with this virus is it could very well become seasonal, just like the flu. So what could wind up happening is we see the cases start to subside around May. The thing lays dormant for the summer, and then just like the flu, around the middle of September or early October, this thing pops up again like gangbusters.
And and that's going to depend on the CDC and others in terms of in this period between April and September.
Here's the whole deal.
Have we
created
more test kits?
Here's the deal. Today's March 13th, okay? I am not focused on after their primary. Bottom line is, their whole deal is postpone it. Let's see what happens next. But it's a smart call for them to make, and then we'll see what moves forward. Let me do it. All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, so a lot of y'all always asking me about some of the pocket squares that I wear. Now, Robert don't have one on. Nope. Now, I don't particularly like the white pocket squares. I don't like even the silk ones. And so I was reading GQ magazine a number of years ago, and I saw this guy who had this pocket square here, and it looks like a flower. This is called a shibori pocket square. This is how the Japanese manipulate the fabric to create this sort of flower effect. So I'm going to take it out and then place it in my hand so you see what it looks like. And I said, man, this is pretty cool. And so I tracked down, it took me a year to find a company that did it. And so they basically about 47 different colors. And so I love them because, again, as men, we don't have many accessories to wear, so we don't have many options. And so this is really a pretty cool pocket square. Now, what I love about this here is you saw when it's in the pocket, you know, it gives you that flower effect like that. But if I wanted to also, unlike because if I flip it and turn it over, it actually gives me a different type of texture. And so therefore it gives me a different look. So there you go. So if you actually want to get one of these shibori pocket squares, we have them in 47 different colors. All you got to do is go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. All right, so first of all, that graphic is way too small. So tomorrow we're going to run it right down here all across the screen. So it's RolandSMartin.com pocket squares. All you got to do is go to my website and you can actually get this. Now, for those of you who are members of our Bring the Funk fan club, there's a discount for you to get our pocket squares. That's why you also got to be a part of our Bring the Funk fan club. And so that's what we want you to do. And so it's pretty cool. So if you want to jazz your look up, you can do that. In addition, y'all see me with some of the feather pocket squares. My sister, who's a designer, she actually makes these. They're all custom made. So when you also go to the website, you can also order one of the customized feather pocket squares right there at rolandsmartin.com/pocket squares. So please do so. And of course, it goes to support the show. And again, if you're a Bring the Funk fan club member, you get a discount. This is why you should join the fan club. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video. You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.